What up, guys? Welcome to a brand new podcast, and today we're going to be talking about GTA mods, and we're going to be talking about old games and remasters. So, hope you guys enjoy this podcast, and I am joined here with Ryan.
Hello, everyone. I'm always here.
Yeah, that's right.
So, following up on the GTA 5 mods that we discussed in a podcast a few weeks ago, Rockstar has officially gotten Take-Two to back off. They've said that they've talked to them, and they have come out and said that they will not go, or they won't take legal action towards third-party projects involving single player. Like their whole reason for this thing was because they thought it was going to go after multiplayer and ruin that, because they're obviously not getting enough money from us, even though they are. But yes, they have decided that they are going to leave the single player stuff alone. They've come out and said, this does not apply to multiplayer or online services. If you do this, Take-Two reserves the rights to object to any third-party project or to revise, revoke, and/or withdraw this statement at any time in their own discretion. So, there's always that PR talk, PR speak, and then the loopholes and whatnot. But if you want to mod GTA 5 or GTA 4 single player now, Open 4 has officially been, updated. So it's no longer illegal, quote unquote, to mod in GTA, which was the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, like I said in the past podcast, I said it's not gonna last long because these type of things it doesn't last long at all because they're gonna lose money if they kept on doing this. So they made the right move by making it not illegal to mod GTA. Plus, mods wasn't really a big problem in GTA. I remember when GTA 5 when it first came out, when multiplayer went live, there was a glitch with single player where you could have an armored car, and then with that armored car they could bring it into multiplayer and shit like that, but they patched it by making the cars blow up. But that was just a glitch. People never really used mods to affect multiplayer. They only did it with single player. And if they did use mods, I'm pretty sure they had a private server or lobby or some shit like that, so it didn't affect the public.
Yeah, the big thing that everyone kept saying when this first happened was, why didn't they just talk to them? Why didn't they just discuss this instead of Take-Two just completely going out of their way to ban it and make it illegal nonetheless, when they could have just simply sat down and talked to them and, had a discussion like real people, like civilized people. And that's what they ended up doing. Rockstar said, this is not how this should be doing. We like mods. We support mods. We think that you should calm the fuck down and have a discussion with these people. So, in the end, everything turns out okay. I'm hoping that maybe it'll be taken a step further and they'll fix it more. But for now, this is good. When people make noise, shit gets done. That those overwhelmingly negative reviews on GTA 5 on Steam were not very pretty, and they didn't like that. So
yeah, I think Take-Two overreacted a little bit. Well, not even a little bit. They just overreacted in general. In my opinion, I think the only reason they did what they did, the way they did it, is because they only cared about the money. They didn't care about the game or the community. They just cared about the money. So at least now modding is okay now. At least we get to mod the game again and enjoy the game and enjoy the hard work of modders who made really good mods. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's even more gross, how greedy Take-Two is, considering that Grand Theft Auto 5 is the 4th highest selling game of all time.
Yeah, I was thinking that they were gonna say, come out and say you can mod the game, but you gotta pay for it.
Oh, like Bethesda and paid mods.
Yeah, or the only way you can mod the game, you have to pay pay for the program made by them in order to mod the game, since they're getting rid of they got rid of the main modding tool.
Yeah, but now that's back, so anyone can use Open4 now to their whim in single player, not in multiplayer, which is good, I guess.
Yeah, I don't even think people care about the multiplayer. Well, modding in the multiplayer, because
I've never really seen anyone mod in multiplayer, so I don't know what their big issue was. But enough of that. Moving on to actually breaking news. This is not part of our podcast. Neo has no idea what I'm about to say, but I just found out that you remember Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, right?
Yeah, what about it?
How that came to get Modern Warfare remastered. You had to buy Infinite Warfare, the bundle thing, which was the worst thing ever, and everyone hated it.
Mm-hmm.
Modern Warfare Remastered Standalone Edition launches June 27th for PS4.
Only now. Only now. Oh.
It's gonna. Guess what? This is an even bigger slap in the face. Not only is there's coming out with a standalone edition, so it says fuck you to everyone who bought Infinite Warfare just to play Modern Warfare Remastered. This is going to be a $40 game. This game came out how many years ago now? This game is going to be $40, and you don't get everything. You still have to pay that $15 extra to get the DLC for the maps for a how-year-old game, and it has microtransactions in it.
That is ridiculous. I was expecting it to be sold for $20 at least.
No, that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be a $20 game with DLC and then microtransactions, and I was going to buy it. I was absolutely going to buy that, and then I found that it was $40 without the, and then microtransactions.
And that's just fucking ridiculous. That's, oh my god. They shouldn't have done that, since Call of Duty World War II is it's gonna be coming out by the end of the year. They shouldn't have done that, because people are gonna get mad, and that's so dumb. I was really expecting a $20 price, and the stupidest thing ever too is that they're making you pay for DLC maps that came out a long time ago, but at a higher price too, because I'm pretty sure the DLCs is $5 more than what it cost back when it first came out.
This is a 10-year-old game. I just looked this up. Modern Warfare came out in 2007.
Yeah. That's just ridiculous.
This is a 10-year-old game being sold for $40 with $15 DLC and microtransactions. Fuck you, Activision.
You see, I was actually
this is the stupidest move they could have ever done, because they were looking good with Call of Duty World War II, and now they've just thrown another pile of shit in people's faces again, and they've said, we're gonna make this standalone, but it's gonna be $40 and you're gonna have to pay for DLC, and it's gonna have microtransactions.
Yeah, that's so stupid. And the thing is too, they were Call of Duty was going on a going down a great road, because Black Ops 3, they got a zombie DLC, and that game came out not too long ago.
Didn't they remaster or remake old zombie maps or something in Black Ops 3?
Yeah, that's what they did, and they sold that.
That was really cool. I thought that was a really cool idea, throwing it back to the old zombie maps that everyone liked.
Yeah, they did that, and then they were going down a nice path, and then they found some way to fuck that up by releasing MWR separately for $40, and then you gotta pay for the DLCs.
That is, I'm baffled. I shouldn't be, because I should expect this. I should have expected this from Activision, considering they fucked people over once with Infinite Warfare, making people buy that game just so they can play Modern Warfare Remastered, and then they're fucking people over again who didn't want to buy Infinite Warfare. They said, yo, you don't want to buy Infinite Warfare? Fine. We'll make this game almost as expensive as that, especially if you want that DLC.
You know what? I thought they would have done something like, since the only way you had to play MWR is that you have to buy Infinite Warfare. So I thought they would have done like, if you buy MWR separately, you will have like an exclusive skin or weapon or some shit if you bought the game separately. That's surprising that they didn't do that.
No, because they want you to pay money for the skins.
No one's gonna buy it though. No one's gonna buy that separately unless it goes on sale.
I guarantee you a lot of people are still gonna buy this piece of shit. A lot of people.
But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that bought Infinite Warfare and already got it. What's the point now? Like there's no point, because you're paying full price for a game that came out 10 years ago. No one's gonna buy that. They're gonna wait until it goes on sale. There's no way in hell people are that fucking stupid to pay for that.
People were stupid enough to pay for Infinite Warfare just to get Modern Warfare Remastered. They were dumb enough to fall for that. They were like, oh, it's only $20 more. What's it gonna do? It's not gonna kill me. You know, they fell for it.
Yeah, and I kind of feel bad for like the people that, you know, paid over $100 for Infinite Warfare and MWR with season pass included. I kind of feel bad for them. They wasted that much money.
You know what's funny? I'm pretty sure that season pass, I'm pretty sure that didn't include Modern Warfare Remastered. So if you bought, the big edition, whatever it was called, and you got the season pass for DLC and stuff, it was only for Infinite Warfare. They really suck. They were on a good track. And then they just sent that train colliding into a mountain.
I think they have they love to fuck things up. That's what they love to do. Fuck up. That's what they're good for fucking things up and doing dumb shit.
So with that breaking news out of the way, we're gonna move on to good games. We're gonna talk about classic video games, stuff that came out.
Okay. You said we were gonna be talking about. Sorry for cutting you off, but you're talking about. You're saying we're gonna be talking about good games, old games. Have you played Friday the 13th, like the old one?
Play, yes. I know it's bad. Yeah. Okay. Let me rephrase that. The games that we will be talking about are probably good games. Not every game that came out in the 80s and 90s was supreme, perfect, golden, but you know, oh yeah, that was the best game of all time. You know that totally didn't cause the video game industry to crash.
Oh, that game was amazing.
I still love that they took copies and literally buried them.
They were trying to get rid of evidence of the worst game ever.
Didn't they redig them? Didn't they resurface them like a few years later or something? Just to be like, hey, this happened.
Yeah. I think they found them at a dumpster area where they dump trash. That's where they found them. Yeah, that's where they found it. But that's the thing is that since it's rare now, that costs a lot of money now. Like if you're a collector of like games, that costs a lot of money now. Even though it's a crappy game, it's worth more than
It's
me.
worth more than me.
Which is crazy.
I'm looking at eBay prices, and it's not that expensive. Some people are
How much?
stupidly selling it for $50, and then
That's more
and
than
then
me.
other
That's
people are
worth
selling
more
it
than
for
me.
like $15, $5, $7. You know.
But that's eBay. Anybody would like. I
Hey,
don't
I'm
like
not saying
eBay.
that's where you should shop, but that's just the first place that I went to. But anyway, enough about shitty old games. Let's talk about good old games, games that we played. Neo, can you think of the very first video game that you played, even if it wasn't, in the 90s?
Yes, I remember the very first video game that I played was Pokemon. Believe it or not. Yeah, it was Pokemon Blue, I think it was. That's the first video game that I played, and I'm pretty sure I never completed it, but yeah, that's the first game that I played.
Did that come out on the Game Boy?
I'm pretty sure it came out for the Game Boy Color, or it probably came out for the original Game Boy. I can't remember, but no, actually no. I think it came out for the original Game Boy because I'm pretty sure it didn't have color at all.
Yeah, it says it came out in 1996, so yeah, I'd imagine Game Boy, not Game Boy Color.
Yeah,
Pokemon Red and Blue were the first Pokemon games, weren't they?
I believe so. I have This is not one of the old ones, but I still have the cartridge for the Game Boy Advance for Pokemon Ruby. Still have that.
There's so many Pokemon games. I don't think I've ever played a traditional Pokemon game. Like the original Pokemon. I've only played like I think I want to call them spin-offs because they weren't traditional Pokemon games, but I've never played a Pokemon game like Red or Blue or Gold and Silver or whatever. Because I've never really liked Pokemon.
So
I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I've never liked Pokemon because I was really interested in the TV show at one point. Like that's all I would watch was Pokemon, but that didn't last very long.
So the spin-offs, like you played Pokemon Stadium.
I can't remember what video game it was, but I know I had a Pokemon game for like my original Xbox. I don't remember what it was called, but I do remember playing it, and I do remember liking it. It wasn't like Pokemon Snap, but that's what I'm talking about, like a spin-off game. The N64 had Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
Sort of like that, not a traditional battle game,
Mhm. Yeah. What was it? Yeah. I played. The only Pokemon game that actually ever completed was Pokemon. It was Pokemon Silver, I think. I think it was on the DS. That's the only one I ever completed. The only reason I don't play Pokemon anymore is because I can't get over the long ass tutorial they have. They have the longest tutorial. It's that too much dialogue for me. Like, I can't. It gets, once I start reading all that shit, I get tired and then I just can't continue anymore. It's so long. I don't know why it's. And then it takes forever for you to get running shoes and get a bike, so you're forever walking in bushes and getting attacked by Pokemon. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, tutorials can fuck up a game if they're not done properly.
Yeah, it's either it's too long or just too it's too long.
Yeah. Alright, so what I want to do, I just thought of this in my head. What I want to do, I want to go through each generation of consoles, and you and I are going to talk about if we've played any of the consoles from this generation, and if we have, what video games we've played on that console, or even ROMs, like an emulator, if we've played a game that came out on that console. So we're gonna start off with the Atari 2600. Have you ever touched, seen, played a game on this console?
No,
Not even a ROM.
not even a ROM. Never.
That surprises me.
Yeah, me too. Because I played a lot of old games, but I never touched that. That's surprising. Have you?
I have played ROMs of games on that came out on the Atari, but I've never actually touched or seen one in person. I believe my grandparents might have one in their attic, but they've never actually taken it down. I don't think I've ever asked to see it, but ET was on that console.
What games did you play for it?
I played Asteroids, I played Breakout, and I played Pong. Pong was on that.
Oh.
Pac-Man was on that too.
Wasn't Pong like the most popular game for that console?
Yeah. I believe Pitfall was on that game too.
Wow.
The original Pitfall. I played that on a ROM. And yeah, those are some classic ass games. Not so good, but it's fun to look back.
Yeah, it's the where games came from. Like it turned from that to where it's now, where it's super realistic.
Yeah. It's crazy, the evolution of games and stuff. Alright,
Yeah.
moving on to I know that there's more there's like a shitload of consoles in the second generation of video games, because everyone was trying to make a console, but the Atari 2600 was the biggest one. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the third generation of consoles, where we have the Nintendo Entertainment System. Again, have you ever played, seen, touched, held this thing? Played a ROM?
Trying to think, have I? Wait, yes I have. There we go. What game was it? I can't remember the name of it. Trying to describe it. What was it? My dad or uncle had the original, like the box, but it didn't work. They had the physical console, but it didn't work. But I remember, what was it? Oh, I'm fucking stupid. Mario.
The original Mario, you couldn't do that?
Yeah, I was like, because I was only thinking about, I was only thinking of the ground texture. I was only thinking about that, and then I was like, oh, Mario.
You idiot.
I was having a brain fart, alright?
What's one of the most revolutionary video games of all time? Oh, Mario.
I don't goof.
So you played that on the console, or actually just emulate that?
Oh, that was a ROM. I never played the console because, yeah, it was broken.
Darn.
I know. Sad times.
Did you remember when the NES Mini came out? Were you ever interested in that?
I never heard of
that.
the
Came
Mini.
out sometime last year around the holidays. Nintendo released an NES Mini with 30 NES games on it already. It came with. I know. Why would someone buy that when they could just go do a ROM? That's what the biggest thing was. Everyone was like, I can play this on a ROM. Why would I purchase this?
Yeah, I could play those games on my phone.
Yeah.
What? Well, I think it's for people, big Nintendo fans, probably. Who knows? Have you played any NES games?
I have played some original NES games. I've played Super Mario. I've played the original Legend of Zelda. The DuckTales was on that game. I was on that console. Do you know that game?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure DuckTales was on that console. Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt was on that console.
Duck Hunt was a fun game.
There's a bunch of other games that I've played on ROMs. I've never actually played on the console. I've never seen one in real life.
You're missing out. It looks like a cable
I
box,
can kind of guess what it looks like. I've seen the NES Mini with the controller and everything, so I can kind of guess. I'm looking at a picture of it right now. Obviously, I know what it looks like, but I've never seen one in person. Which is a shame, I guess.
Yeah, it was it before your time?
The NES came out in 1983.
Definitely. Holy shit.
Yeah, definitely before our time.
Oh man. I am brain dead today.
Yes you are. We're gonna move on to the 4th generation. Where we have, I think we're gonna talk about 2, maybe 3 consoles here. The first one we're gonna talk about is the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
What the fuck? I haven't played any ROMs or seen that game, the console physically. Haven't played any for that one. That's surprising too.
No game for that whatsoever?
None.
Again, surprising. You like old video games, you like old consoles, but you've never played any of these, not even on a ROM.
Yeah, that's surprising. I think the games, the old games that I play was it wasn't that far back, but it was the Game Boy, the original Game Boy. Those are the games I played. Those are the old games I still play today. I haven't touched the other ones.
Alright, so I have played I haven't played the actual NES or SNES itself. I've never seen one in real life, never held one, but I have played ROMs of games on this. Some games that I have played are Super Mario World. That was like one of the most revolutionary Marios ever. Super Metroid was on that console. Donkey Kong Country, the original, that was on that. I played that.
Oh shit!
Oh, don't you forget?
I just now well, no, wait. I played Donkey Kong Country, but it wasn't on that. It was the.
Oh, you played like
Game Boy.
You
Never
must
mind.
have played a different version. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country was on the SNES. Yoshi's Island, I played that. That was a really good game. If maybe, I wouldn't say it's outdated, but you know, could use some work. They've obviously improved on it, but the original F-Zero, I have played that. That was on the SNES. Donkey Kong Country 2. I've played a lot of SNES games, surprisingly. I think that's like the most games I've played on a console ROM from this list so far. So that's good for me.
Wait, what year did that come out?
The SNES came out in 1990.
SNES.
Yeah.
Damn. And they still managed to make good games back then. I like the one thing I missed about like games from like back in the day, like when they came out, they didn't need patches at all. They just came out working.
Yeah, because you couldn't patch it. You had to make sure that damn thing worked, or else there was a total recall of your fucking game. They couldn't just throw it out there to the public and say, "Oh, we'll fix it later. We can patch it. It'll be fine." You couldn't do that back then. You had a cartridge, and you made like thousands of copies of that cartridge, and if that fucking thing didn't work, you were screwed.
Yeah, I kind of miss that mentality that companies had back then. If they fuck up, they're screwed. Now they're just like, oh, if the game is bugged, yeah, we could always fix it. But I feel like companies now, they need to have the mentality of when they're making a game, to make it complete, so it has little patches. But these games that are coming out now, they have so many patches, and not to say the patches are like small patches. They're like huge package not patches that are like a gigabyte big.
Yeah, it's crazy how much they've changed, how little they care about being perfect anymore, because technology just made it easier for them to not care.
Yeah, and since you could download everything now.
Yeah, it's even worse. You can just digitally buy games. So, all right, next console we're gonna talk about is the Sega Genesis. Anything from you?
I have played some ROMs for that, the Sega Genesis. But I think I'm trying to think of the name of the game. What was it? I'm having a brain fart. My bad.
Try to describe it. Like, think of what you're thinking about in your head.
I feel like if I try to describe it, it was. I remember using a guy who had an axe or some shit. What was it? It was one of those beat 'em up games, like they made a sequel to it for the PlayStation 3. What was it? Golden Axe. Was it? I think it was Golden Axe. Yeah.
Oh man, Golden Axe. I've never ever heard of that game.
You never heard of that?
No. Let me look it up. Golden Axe is a series of side-scrolling beat-em-up hack-and-slash arcade video games. So yeah, this Golden Axe 2, Golden Axe 3. Yeah, I've never heard of these games before, actually, surprisingly, but there seems to be a few of them. I can't see what they look like. Can you describe what this game was?
It was a medieval type game. Well, fantasy type game. They have dragons and stuff like that. Well, not dragons. I think dinosaurs that breed fire. They weren't dragons. They were dinosaurs. And you were basically this. He looks like a Viking, and he had an axe, obviously, and he basically just whooped ass. And it was 2-player too, so it was. I never played it with someone else. I just played it by myself because I had no friends. And yeah, that's all you just do. You just beat up bad guys, and you just. I didn't know if there was a story to it. I can't remember because it was a long time ago that I played it. But you just basically just whoop ass with. You had multiple characters as well, so it's like. Yeah, that's the best I can describe this game.
Did you actually play that on the console itself, or did you emulate it through a ROM?
It was a ROM.
Oh, okay. So some of the games that I've played that came out on this console were the original Sonic the Hedgehog. I have played that. And then Sonic the Hedgehog 2 I have not played, but that did come out on this. But do you remember Echo the Dolphin? Have you ever heard of that game?
No.
I played that. I played the original Echo the Dolphin, and then I believe I played the Dreamcast version, but we'll get to the Dreamcast later. And then Mortal Kombat, I believe that was on the Sega Genesis. I played that. That might have been on other consoles too, so who knows? It probably was.
Yeah, probably.
That's just a few games that I've played that came out on the Sega Genesis. Not really a revolutionary console, I guess, but it had some good properties.
Yeah, it did. It had some great titles.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have Sonic. And who knows where we'd be without Sonic.
I would be fine without Sonic.
That'd be fine.
Well, actually, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. When we get to the PlayStation 2, that's when, Sonic meant something to me.
Okay, so we're going to move on to what is arguably the first really, I guess, greatest console of all time, which is the original PlayStation. Now in the 5th generation of consoles, we're gonna talk about the PlayStation. You ever? Did you ever own a PlayStation? Played games on a PlayStation? Emulated games? You know.
I did. I had a PlayStation 1, the gray, remember that? Had 2 controllers, and I played a lot of games on it. I played GTA, the top-down GTA, the original GTA. I played Medieval. I played Medal of Honor on that console. I played a lot of games on that console, especially Tekken. I played Tekken a lot on that console. I never emulated any games for the PlayStation 1 though, but I had my dad, he had almost all the PlayStation 1 games, like physical copies, and I didn't get to play all of them, but he had like Driver, he had like all these like games I never heard of, but I played GTA, Rage Racer, remember playing that, and Tekken, all that. That's basically all I played.
Damn. So would you say that sort of introduced you to gaming? Like that's where you got your start?
Not quite, because I wasn't really a big fan at the time. I just played it for fun, but I never like had a passion to play. But then I think once the Game Boy came out, that's when I became a big fan of games.
Oh, okay. Did you have the PlayStation controller without the analog sticks, or did you have the analog sticks?
I had it without the analog sticks.
Okay, you had the original. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
I didn't even know there was a controller with analog sticks for the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember this. The very first game that came out on the PlayStation 1 that boasted using the analog sticks was Ape Escape. That utilized the analog sticks super hardcore because it was a new thing. So they really used that well. I remember playing that game. That uses the analog sticks a lot because it was new technology.
And that's when I first... Wait, did the original Xbox, it came out, when the PlayStation 2 came out, right?
Yeah, let me go back a little. Let me go back and look here. The PlayStation 2 came out in 2000, the Xbox came out in 2001. So yeah, but back to the PlayStation, the original PlayStation. My sister, I remember when I was younger, my sister had a PlayStation 1. That was her quote-unquote console. We played that console together so much. I remember playing a shitload of games on that. That's what kind of got me into gaming, was her, showing me all these different types of games and her favorite games and whatnot. That's what really got me into gaming. Great games on this console, like the original Resident Evil. You had Castlevania. You had Tekken, obviously. All 3 Crash Bandicoots. All these games I've played, by the way, these are fantastic games. Parappa the Rappa. Did you ever play that game?
I played it, the PSP version of it.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey. You ever heard of that game?
No.
I have played that game. Spyro the Dragon. I think there were 3 on PlayStation. That was an excellent series of games. I played that. That was really good. There were some Final Fantasies on here, but I'm not interested in Final Fantasy. Frogger. I remember playing Frogger on the PlayStation 1. That was really good. Doom was on the PlayStation 1. I never played that though. I never played the original Doom, unfortunately.
Me neither, I never played it.
Spider-Man, there were like 2 Spider-Man games. I talked about this when we talked about Spider-Man. That's one of my favorite Spider-Man games, is this Spider-Man on the PlayStation 1. Just a ton of good games on this console.
There was a Spider-Man game that it had a version of Spider-Man which had 4 arms. I don't know what console that came out for, but it was a beat 'em up type game. He could have climbed the walls and stuff like that. It had Carnage in it too.
I believe I know what you're talking about. Did that come out on the... That might have come out on an earlier console, because I think I know what you're talking about. It was like Spider-Man. It had Carnage in the title, didn't it?
Yeah.
God, let me look this up right now. Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. Is that it?
Yep, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Okay, let me see. This came out on the SNES.
Oh, so I did play a game for that.
See, even if you played a game on this console, you may not remember what console it was for. So you have played an SNES game.
Yep.
I remembered what game you were talking about because I've seen people play this game. It was a good game.
Yeah, I played that game a ton. When my dad started telling me about ROMs, that's when I started playing that game a ton. It was one of the best Spider-Man games than the newer ones.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my god, Rayman. Rayman was on the original PlayStation. God, that's a great game.
It is, but I played Rayman. I heard of Rayman. The first time I heard of Rayman, it was when the Game Boy Advance came out. That's when I first heard of Rayman.
Yeah, that game was hard as shit, but it was a really good game.
Yeah, it was fun.
So I think, yeah, that was my introduction to gaming. What would you say your introduction to gaming was? I might have already asked this, but...
Yeah, I said it earlier. It was when the Game Boy Color came
Game
out.
Boy. So it was like 2 years later?
Yeah, 2 years later.
Okay.
That's when I got big into it.
So the next console we're going to talk about in this generation is the Nintendo 64, which I freaking love this console.
Me too.
This is one of my favorite consoles. It has some of my favorite games on it. This console was incredible.
It was fantastic. I never owned or saw the physical thing itself. I remember I had a lot of ROMs for it. I played Kirby, I played Mario 64, I played Road Rash. That game was amazing.
That game was really good.
I played Smash Brothers. I played the Firefox game. Was that the original Firefox or no? Or it was something else?
I can't remember. I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember.
Well, I played that, and I played so many games that had weird titles. But, I love the N64.
Yeah, the N64
so much.
was fucking great. One of the greatest consoles of all time.
It is.
So, what games have you played on this console?
I played... Wait, the physical or ROMs?
Well, you've never seen a Nintendo 64. You never had one, right?
Yeah, I never had one.
So you played ROMs.
Yeah.
So what games did you play through ROMs?
I played a lot. I played Smash Bros. I played Star Fox or Fire. What am I thinking? Firefox. Star Fox. I played Mario. I played Road Rash, which was such an amazing game. And I played Kirby and some others that I can't, like, the titles were weird. I'm not going to try to pronounce them.
Did you ever play Super Mario 64?
Yeah, I said that earlier on. You did not hear me?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
You're tripping.
Super Mario 64, that game was revolutionary. That's one of the greatest video games of all time.
No, it's not.
Excuse me.
It is not. Even though it was great.
What?
It was not. The greatest game of all time is Road Rash.
No, shut the hell up. You just... That's a good game. It's not the greatest game of all time.
Mario 64 wasn't the greatest game of all time.
It's
you know what?
one of...
it's one of, but I will tell you, the greatest game of all time is on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Alright, we'll get to that later then.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to talk about Super Mario 64, which is one of the most revolutionary video games of all time.
And it was creepy
This
at some
pushed
point.
the N64 really hard. It showed the next generation of gaming almost. It showed what people could do. I mean, the PlayStation was already kind of doing that, but there were still some issues with the PlayStation, and the N64 took those issues. It took what was wrong with the PlayStation and it built on it. It made it better, so the games looked better and ran better. I think it was great.
Yeah. Plus, what they had over Sony is that they had exclusives like Mario and Super Smash Bros. You couldn't play that on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, there was a lot of games exclusive to the N64, surprisingly.
Yeah. Well, it was a great console, so
Yeah,
it's not
I mean,
a big surprise.
Yeah, nowadays there's not many exclusives. The third-party exclusives, I should say. The Nintendo obviously has all their exclusives on their consoles, but there's not a lot of third-party exclusives, which is sad. Some of the really good games that I played on this, ROMs that I've played of these games. I've never actually held or seen a Nintendo 64 in person, but I've played ROMs of these games. Super Mario 64, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I have played that. People think that's the greatest video game of all time, and I disagree.
Zelda?
Yeah, the Ocarina of Time.
That's hard to say because it was good.
It was okay, but it wasn't the greatest. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, I found it was pretty good because the only reason I found it pretty good is because because I'm pretty sure that one you could dress up Link in different color outfits, right?
I never did that, but
Oh, oops. But the only reason I think that one's good is that he turned from a child to an adult. That's like the coolest thing back then.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that game, like I said, Mario 64 was revolutionary. Ocarina of Time was revolutionary in itself, but I just didn't really like it as much.
Did you like the other one after that?
Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
I never played that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
that's surprising.
It is creepy. I know that.
It is. I never completed it though.
Some other games that I've played Mario Kart 64. I've played Conker's Bad Fur Day. Love that game. I've played Banjo-Kazooie. I've actually been playing that on the Xbox 360 because that's on the 360. I mean, not on my 360, on my Xbox One. It was originally on the 360, now it's backwards compatible. I love that game so much. Banjo-Kazooie is great. Star Fox 64, Perfect Dark. I've played that game. Banjo-Tooie, I haven't played, but I do have it. The original Super Smash Bros. F-Zero X, I have played that game. There's a lot of Star Wars games on the N64.
For real? I never heard of any Star Wars games for the N64.
I remember that. Turok Dinosaur Hunter, that was on the N64. That might have been on other consoles though, but that was a good game. Blast Core. Blast Core. I did play that game. Mario Party was originally on the Nintendo 64. That's when that first started.
Yeah, I played a lot of Mario Party on the N64, and there was one stage in particular in one of them that I really loved, and it was I think it was Egypt or like a desert type stage. I still remember that to this day, and it's still fun to play.
Yeah, the original Mario Parties, everyone says they're a lot better than the newer Mario Parties, which is true. They fucked up the new Mario Parties.
Yeah, the originals always tend to be better
There's been like
than
10
the
of
new
them,
ones.
and not including spin-offs, but you know, a lot of Mario Party games.
Did you ever play Banjo Kazooie kart racing, the kart racing one?
No, I know about Diddy Kong Racing, but I don't know about Banjo-Kazooie kart racing.
Was it Diddy? I think it was Diddy Kong Racing, was it?
It was Diddy
Let me
Kong
search it
Racing.
up.
He might have been in Diddy Kong Racing. I've never played that game anyway.
Well, that was kind of like the it had flying in it.
Yeah,
like,
I remember
you
that
know,
was the thing. You could fly.
and back I wasn't that back then. You know, those kart racing games are always underground, and then you see Mario Kart 7 now. It has like all that flying.
Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 was
Yeah.
on the Wii U.
Yeah, they had the flying, but they're not the first ones to do it. It was Diddy Kong.
Did you ever play Donkey Kong 64?
I have. I found it to be a disappointment.
Really? I've never played it personally, unfortunately, but I heard it's really kind of a good game reminiscent of Banjo-Kazooie. It's obviously it's made by the same company, but why was it a disappointment?
Maybe because I'm used to like the 2D version of it and not the 3D version of it.
You
So
like the
I didn't.
SNES? Donkey Kong's better, the side-scrolling.
Yeah, I found it way better. This one, holy crap! I couldn't find myself to like continue playing it, but I might just go. Well, that's how I felt back then. I don't know if that's the same way I will feel if I play it today, but I might just go ahead and play it again to see if I still have that same feeling as when I had it back then. That same feeling.
I remember when this game came out, it was so big that they had an expansion, like a almost sort of cartridge or like an attachment to your N64 that increased the space so that you could actually play this. I remember that was a thing.
I remember there was a lot of glitches, like game breaking glitches that people used to do, and it was some of the glitches were scary, like, you know, those creepy pastas and stuff like that. Yeah, it was. I saw a couple of videos of that. I was like, oh shit, good thing I never, like, you know, completed that game or did any of those glitches.
All in all, still a fantastic console. Moving on to the 6th generation. Which one do you want to talk about first? There's 4 here that we're going to talk about. You've got the Dreamcast, the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, or the Xbox.
I never played the Dreamcast, so I'm gonna start off with Xbox first because I played one game on the Xbox, the original Xbox, and that was Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat was the only game you ever played on the original Xbox.
Yeah, it was my uncle's, and that's the only game I played because I was visiting for a while, so I didn't get the chance to play any others. So I just played that one.
So there were other games, but you just never had a chance.
Yeah, but Mortal Kombat is the only game that I've played on the original Xbox, which is sad.
Yeah, I have really fond memories of the Xbox because, as I said before, we did have a PlayStation in the house. That was not my first console, it was my sister's console. Even though I got to play it with her a lot, it wasn't my console. But the Xbox, that was mine. My console. My very first gaming system. And I remember very fondly loving that console and the games that I had for that. There's obviously a lot of games that I had to go back and play, because when I first got the console, I was not old enough to play certain games. My parents wouldn't let me play old rated games, like mature as they should. But I remember playing a lot of games when I first had the Xbox. One of the very first games that I played on my Xbox was. Yeah, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom.
There was a SpongeBob game for the Xbox?
What the fuck? You've never heard of this game?
No, I never heard. I didn't even know that.
This game wasn't just for the Xbox. It came out on PlayStation 2, GameCube. It was everywhere.
I never heard of that in my life.
It's one of the best video games of all time.
For kids?
No, it's fucking great. It really is. It's amazing.
What was it like?
It was sort of a 3D platformer.
Ugh. SpongeBob.
I absolutely loved it. The amount of times that I have played that game from start to finish and completed it, I can't even count. I played that game to death when I first got it. I'll go back again and play it to this day. That's how much I love it.
Oh my god, I still can't believe there was a SpongeBob game.
There was a SpongeBob movie game as well.
Yeah, that came out recently. Like, not recently, but like, 15?
No, I'm not talking about that. Not that piece of shit. I'm talking about the original movie. It came out in 2004.
There's a game for that too?
Yes.
What?
Yes, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie video game.
Yeah, I never heard of that in my life. Holy shit.
God, you need to look this up. I want you to, after this podcast is done, look at both of those games. Look at playthroughs of those games because they're fantastic.
I bet.
You asshole.
I know.
That was one of the first games I had for that console. That was fantastic. Anyway, games that were on this console that I played later in my life was the original Halo.
Halo.
I like the original Halo, and I also played Halo 2. I like those two Halo games. Did you hear that thunder? Because that was not okay.
Yeah, it happened to me a while back. But I thought you didn't hear. Oh, never mind.
There it is. It's clear skies right now. I just want to make that point. It is blue outside and sunny. Why is it thundering?
It doesn't. That didn't sound like a thunder because my whole house shaked, and maybe it's a bomb. Who knows? Holy shit, we're under attack right now. That's the name of the podcast now.
Podcast during the war.
World War III.
Anyway, the original Halo. I like that game. I played it. I never completed. Actually, I did. I remember completing it once, and then I never completed it again. The original Halo 2, I did play that game and I liked it. And then anything after that, it just kind of fell off.
I remember playing the original Halo on PC, not Xbox. I played that game a lot. I completed it like 5 times. And I remember one part in it that scared the shit out of me was these weird creatures that, like, you know, take you over.
You mean the Horde?
Yeah, the Horde.
No, the Flood.
Yeah, something like that. The Flood. That I remember. Like,
yeah, I remember that scared me.
Yeah. And then when I look at it, like, now, they kind of remind me of, like, popcorn.
Yeah, they do kind of look like popcorn.
those things were creepy as hell. Holy
They did a good job. They did a good job making them creepy.
Yeah, but I never played a Halo game after that. I just played the original.
Yeah, some other games that I played later was Doom 3. I did play Doom 3 on my Xbox. That was obviously not the best Doom game by any standards, but it was kind of because they were moving more towards serious and horror. They were trying to make it, scary, and it sort of worked, but definitely not my favorite Doom game, even though it was still kind of good. Did you ever play that?
Nope.
Have you ever played a Doom game?
I played the old one, but not 3.
Yeah, have you played the newer one?
The newer one, nope.
That's a fantastic game, at least in my opinion. The 2016 Doom, that's great. Some other games that I played on this console. I played the original Splinter Cell on this console.
Ah, that's a good
and
game.
then it was the original Splinter Cell, and then Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow. That was a great game. A lot of Splinter Cell games on this console. They were great. I did have a lot of Star Wars games too. I had Star Wars Battlefront 1. I remember we talked about that in a little earlier podcast. That was really a really fun game. And what was even better is that I didn't have Xbox Live back then, like at all. I never played with people. I never really understood what that was. So I never had multiplayer. But I just loved going around having these giant AI fights with like 20, 30, 40 people, just AI to fight against, and it was great just having these giant battles. It felt like I was playing with real people in multiplayer, so I wasn't entirely lonely. That was good. And another Star Wars game was Star Wars Republic Commando, which I think is one of the best Star Wars games ever made. I think that's a fantastic Star Wars game. If you ever get a chance to look at that or play that, that's really nice. One of my favorite games on this console was Burnout 3. Have you ever played a Burnout game?
I have on the PSP.
Speaking of that, I do have the Burnout game on the PSP. I did buy that game because then you've basically played Burnout 3. Because which Burnout though? Which Burnout on the PSP did you play? Because there was 2 of them.
I don't know. I think it was a Burnout game. I don't know which one I played because I was playing.
Was it Burnout Legends?
Nope.
Oh, I believe that's the one that I have. That's almost a straight up port copy of fucking Burnout 3, which is fantastic because I can now play that game on my PSP. I don't have to go and play it on a fucking old ass console that I don't want to set up just to play that game. I can play it on my PSP, but that was one of my favorite games ever on the original Xbox. I played that game to death. I thought that was really good.
You played it religiously?
If you want to say that, then yes. I did play it religiously. I'm not a religious man, but I do believe in Burnout.
And I believe in thunder.
Oh yeah, Thunder. Yeah, that's a good thing to believe in. I played Simpsons Hit and Run on this console. Do you remember that game?
Wasn't it like GTA but without guns?
It was basically GTA but rated T.
Yeah, I saw gameplay of it, but I never played it. I don't like The Simpsons.
I'm not really a huge fan of The Simpsons myself, but I thought that game was really fun.
Yeah. Have you played Crazy Taxi?
Yes, I have played Crazy Taxi.
That's one great game.
Yeah, it is. It's on like almost every fucking console.
Yeah, it was on the Android Play Store for free, and then it disappeared.
It's on the iOS for free, or on the iOS App Store. It's for free because Sega's been doing this thing recently where they're putting all of their old games on phones for free, but they have ads and stuff. So I don't know. We'll talk about that some other time. Another game on the original Xbox that I liked a lot. It was made by Rare, one of my favorite companies of all time. Was Grabbed by the Ghoulies. It's a strange name, but this game, I think it's a sort of a hidden gem because it didn't sell well at all, but I think it was a really fun game. It's exclusive to the Xbox. Really interesting concept, and I did like it. But enough about the Xbox. We've been talking about this for a very long time. We're going to try and move on to the next console, which one do you want to talk about now? GameCube, PlayStation 2?
Let's talk about the PlayStation 2, because that's where I played most of my games. I owned a PlayStation 2. I don't know what version of it, like the Slim or no, it was the original one. And I remember playing Devil May Cry, GTA Vice City, and Medal of Honor. Wait, was it Medal of Honor or no? No, not Medal of Honor. That's something else. Yeah, I think no, Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. I played some other racing games. Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2. Love those. And I think that was the only game. No, Spider-Man. I remember there was a Spider-Man game for that came out.
Yes, Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. Those were on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Those were great. I forgot to talk about that. When I was talking about the Xbox, I played the original, Spider-Man and then Spider-Man 2 I did play on the Xbox. Those are fantastic Spider-Man games.
Yeah, and then there was this one game where it was a racing game, but it has like trucks in it. I can't remember the name of it, but it had like trucks. It's some weird truck game. And I also played Gran Turismo religiously on that console.
The Gran Turismo was the highest selling game on the PlayStation 1. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a great game. I wasted so many hours in that game, especially in time trials. I would always try to beat my time that's why I wasted all my time just doing time trials.
Yeah. So I never had PlayStation 2. But my friends did. A lot of my friends had PlayStation 2s, and I was sort of the only one who had an Xbox, which I guess kind of makes sense now, considering that PlayStation 2 is obviously the highest selling console of all time. So a lot more people had a PlayStation than Xbox, but games that I did play on the PlayStation 2 I did play Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas on the PS2. I know they came out on the Xbox later, but they came to PS2 first, so that's why I played them.
Wait, how?
What do you mean, how?
How did you play it on PlayStation 2? Did you own one, or did you go play on a friend's?
No, I said my friends had one, so every time I go over their house, they had the games, so I would play the games that they had.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Sadly, I've never had one, but I was the Xbox guy.
Yeah, the PlayStation 2 was way better than the Xbox until PlayStation 3. That's when.
Yeah, until the Xbox 360, we'll get to that in a minute. So other games that I played on the PlayStation 2, at least that my friends had, were the original God of War. Like I said, I did play God of War 1, 2, and 3? No, that was on the PlayStation 3, wasn't it? God of War 3?
I believe it was.
Yeah, so I played God of War 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 2. My friends had that. I have played Shadow of the Colossus very briefly. I've never actually finished the game, but one of my friends did have that game. Need for Speed, you talked about that. A lot of my friends had Need for Speed. We played those games. My friends did have Kingdom Hearts, the original Kingdom Hearts. I played that a little bit. I think those are really good games, especially the older ones. The newer ones, they're kind of the same caliber, but I think the original, they're really good.
Yeah, the originals are always better. Most of them.
One more game, or actually two more games that I want to talk about that my friends had was Resident Evil 4. I know that quote unquote exclusive to the GameCube for like what 2 months, and then it was ported over to the PlayStation 2, and it ended up selling more than the GameCube version. But my friends had Resident Evil 4 on the PlayStation 2. I played that a little bit, and then the last game that I want to talk about, what they had was Crash: The Wrath of Cortex. I remember playing that game. My friends had that game. I thought that was not as good as the PlayStation 1 Crashes. You know, Crash 1, 2, and 3. But I think it was still a pretty solid Crash Bandicoot game. It was very unfocused, but I think it was still good. Did you ever play that?
No, I never heard of that. Crash?
Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, Crash Bandicoot. Oh, shit. Yeah.
You idiot.
Yeah, I've played it.
You played Crash. Well, which ones did you play?
Well, I didn't play any of the Crash Bandicoots on the PlayStation 2, I should say. Just the
Oh, there was only... Yeah, I think it was
PlayStation
like
1.
2. But yeah, the PlayStation 1 versions are better.
Plus they had the Crash Bandicoot kart game for the PlayStation 1 too.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, we're enough about the PlayStation 2. Let's move on to the GameCube, because that's the last one of this generation that you've actually played, right?
Me, I never played any on the PlayStation GameCube.
The PlayStation Cube.
The PlayStation Cube. I know I never played any games on the GameCube.
Really?
None. I never owned one. I never played any ROMs for it.
Okay. I had a GameCube. I had a GameCube, and there were a lot of good games that I played on the GameCube when that first came out. One of the best games on that console, and everyone will say that, is Super Smash Bros. Melee. Super Smash Bros. Melee, in my opinion, is the best Super Smash Bros. Game. I love that game to bits. There will never be a Smash Bros. That is better than the GameCube version. I think it's amazing. Some other games that I've played on this console were Super Mario Sunshine, which was the next game in the series, like Super Mario 64. Then they had Super Mario Sunshine, and now they've got Super Mario Odyssey, which is coming out later this year. I thought that was a pretty good game, even if people sort of don't like it as much anymore. People kind of look down on that game, but I thought it was a really good game. Metroid Prime. Absolutely one of my favorite games on that console. The Metroid Prime series, I think, is great. It really does Metroid really well, and Metroid Prime 4 is coming out some fucking time in the next 5 years or something, who knows. But I think that's going to be a job well done for the Metroid series, because it's been a while since we've had a Metroid Prime game. Mario Kart Double Dash, arguably the best Mario Kart game ever. I've played that game. I've played Mario Kart Double Dash. I think that's a fantastic Mario Kart game. It's a lot of fun. Crazy. The last F-Zero game, I believe, was on this console. I did play that. I don't think there's been an F-Zero game since. One of my favorite games on this console is Luigi's Mansion. I think Luigi's Mansion is a fantastic game. I absolutely love the sequel that was on the 3DS. I love Luigi's Mansion on both of these consoles. I think they're great games. Again, this is a good console, a good Nintendo console. I don't understand what happened.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Well, I can't say what, because I never played it.
Yeah, but I definitely didn't have as much games for this system as I did my original Xbox, but I still had tons of fun playing this game. I thought it was really good. And then the last game that we're going to talk about or the last gaming system, I should say, is the Dreamcast, which you have never played before.
Nope.
So here's... Oh, go ahead and continue.
I was gonna say, what was it like? Because I never saw any actual games on it or anything like that.
So here's a story about quote-unquote my GameCube, because it was my brother's console. You know, my sister had the PlayStation 1, I had the Xbox. My brother's console was a Dreamcast. Funnily enough, considering how that console sort of failed rather quickly, it didn't do very well, but my brother had a Dreamcast. And I remember playing a lot of games on that console. It was a very interesting console, I should say. It was the last console developed by Sega. But there was not a lot of good games on it because it didn't last very long. But there were some interesting games. Obviously, it was sort of run out by the PlayStation 2 almost. I think it came out a year before, but people were looking forward to the PlayStation 2 a lot more. So it kind of reminds me of the Wii U, you know, the games console that sort of did well, had some interesting games, but in the end just sort of failed.
Yeah, I think the Wii U, like, it was great, but it just did not work as well.
Yeah. So some games, I didn't actually have a lot of games on this console. At least my brother didn't. Probably because he didn't like it a lot, but we still had it. Do you remember? You've heard of Shenmue, right?
Shamu?
No, Shenmue.
Describe it to me.
It's this game about. I know it's a Japanese game.
Is it about like a dog or anything?
No.
No?
It's not about a dog.
Because there was a game that way you controlled a white dog and you know.
That was I know what game you're talking about. Oh my god.
So it's not that. It's not that game.
No, it's not that game. But that game was great. I know what game you're talking about, but I can't remember what it was called.
Me
But
neither.
not a lot of good games on this console, but I wanted to touch on it because obviously it was in my house. I did sort of play it. But the one game that I do remember playing on this was Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure was exclusive to the Dreamcast. It was obviously ported over to other systems later, but Sonic Adventure is a very interesting game in terms of what people think about it, because you either hate this game, like really properly hate this game, or you love it, and I don't know why. A lot of people hate this game or they love this game, and people will defend it either way. I don't know where I fall in between those two categories, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I forgot to mention for the PlayStation 2 and how I said earlier, how you said if Sonic wasn't like around, it would affect you, and I said it wouldn't. And then there was this. Have you ever heard of Sonic Heroes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the game that I can't live without, because that's I remember playing that game, and on the PlayStation 2 it was so much fun. I don't know why I found it so much fun. I remember playing as SPO, I think that's his name, this purple freak, and I remember playing that game. It was so fun. It was a Sonic game, but it had like platforming and stuff like that, and it was pretty cool. And I love the soundtrack for it. I got it, and I got back the game, but not on the PlayStation 2, but on my PC, and it just brings back so much memories. That game is just, I can't live without that game. I play it like almost every year that I can. Like, I always go back and play it.
Damn. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah. Oh, it was a great game. And very different from the others.
Yeah, I know it was different from a lot of Sonic games. I've never been a huge fan of Sonic anyway, so
Was he in Smash Bros or no?
I think he was in the Wii U version.
Oh yeah, the Wii U version.
Yeah, Super Smash Bros. Wii U. I think he was on that. I think it was in the 3DS version as well. I know Pac-Man was on that as well.
Of course, Pac-Man is gonna be there.
Yeah, but moving on to the last console generation that I want to talk about before we move on is the 7th generation of consoles, which has the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the world famous Wii. Which one would you like to touch on first?
Well, I never owned an Xbox, so let's just get PlayStation out of the way. I played a lot of PlayStation games. I bought the Devil May Cry HD remastered collection. There's a bunch of PlayStation 3 games that I played. I'm just gonna name the few that I still play today. I still play Far Cry 3. And I still play Devil May Cry, obviously. Devil May Cry 4. Ooh, great game. Still looks good today. Even though that game came out in 2008, still looks great. I played Last of Us. That was pretty good. And I played some others I can't really, think of right now. But I played a lot of PlayStation 3 games.
Yeah, this was the generation that I had every one of these consoles. I had an Xbox 360, I had a PS3, and I had a Wii. But talking about the PS3, I sort of see that as Sony's biggest failure, almost, because if you ever look at their E3 presentation for this game, which was I think in 2005 or 2006,
it was ass.
It was fucking terrible.
Didn't it cost $600?
This console released at $600.
Pocket change.
$600 this console released at. Mind you, the Xbox 360 had already been out for a year at this point. And Sony comes along and says, "Oh, our console is so powerful and so great that we are going to make you bankrupt." Before that was the dumbest idea that they've ever done, was release that fucking console for that price.
Well, the only thing, that price was ridiculous. But the only thing I found great about the PlayStation 3 was that you didn't have to pay for online, not like Xbox.
Yeah, I remember really liking that when I played the PS3, that you didn't have to pay online for anything, because I had online in my Xbox 360 because I played my Xbox 360 more, but it would sort of be on and off online. You know, like I'd have it every few months or something. But yeah, I always loved getting on the PS3 and just jumping straight onto online, having it free. And then obviously they changed that during the PS4 because they saw how much money Xbox was making with it, so they decided, hey, we're going to do the same thing they're doing. But not a lot of fond memories for me with the PS3. I didn't have a ton of... Well, I shouldn't say no fond memories. I just didn't have a lot of games for it. But one of my favorite games ever made was on this console, and it was Little Big Planet.
Ooh, the Sony exclusive platformer, which is...
absolutely fucking love this game, and Little Big Planet 2. I actually pre-ordered Little Big Planet 2, and I got like the collector's edition of that game because I love the original so much. This was the very first time I ever pre-ordered a game and bought a collector's edition of a game, was with Little Big Planet 2. So a lot of good memories with those two games. I can't really think of anything else that the PS3 had to offer, but that's just me.
Yeah, but let's move on to your favorite company slash console, the 360.
I wouldn't say my favorite console. It might be my favorite console of all time, but the Xbox 360, which I think I lean more towards Microsoft than Xbox. If you couldn't tell already, but
Wait, what? You lean towards more Microsoft than Xbox?
no, I lean more towards Microsoft and Xbox.
Oh, okay,
Since
my bad.
they're both the same, they're sort of one and the same. But yeah, obviously, if you couldn't figure it out by now, I do lean more towards them because I started off with them, even though Sony has their thing and they sort of do well. But I'll always sort of be Xbox. But a lot of good games on this console that I had. Most memorably for me was Red Dead Redemption. I remember playing that a lot on the Xbox 360. I thought that was a very good game. Did you ever play that?
Me, I haven't played that game, which I am disappointed in myself because that was. I heard it was a great game, and I never got the chance to play it. I never thought of it. I only just played GTA. I didn't care much about it, but yeah, I never played it, sadly.
Yeah, everybody thinks that is a really good game, but everybody's mad about it because it never released on PC. Red Dead Redemption has yet to been released on PC, which has made a lot of people mad. It's only on consoles, so considering that GTA has been on PC and stuff, but Red Dead Redemption hasn't, people have been confused about that a lot.
Maybe maybe it's like a smart thing for the companies because they want people to if they like or are interested in the game, they will get a console to play it. But the prices back then were too high, but now you could pick up a PS3 for $100, maybe if you're lucky $90, and you could pick up I don't know how much you could pick up a 360 right now, but back then it was.
I mean, if you have an Xbox One, you don't even need a 360. There's so many backwards compatible games on the Xbox One. You don't even need it. You don't even need a 360. There's so many 360 games that I've been able to play, not on the 360 itself, but through Xbox One and its backwards compatibility. And I love that fact that I've been able to go back and play 360 games that I've missed or that I've never played before. But interesting about the 360 is that this is where I went through my Call of Duty thing, my quote-unquote phase, if you could say. I had Call of Duty 4, 5, 6, 7, and I almost bought, for point of reference, 7 was the first Black Ops, and 8 was technically Modern Warfare 3, even though it wasn't called Call of Duty 8, it was Modern Warfare 3. But I almost bought Modern Warfare 3, and then I just decided to stop. But yeah, this is where I went through my sort of Call of Duty phase, which is interesting.
I never thought you would actually play Call of Duty. That's surprising.
Yeah, what's interesting about this generation of consoles is that I had a 360 and a PS3 and a Wii all at the same time, but this was sort of a console generation that I skipped, because even though I had these consoles, I sort of, around this time, I started to lose interest in video games, which was really sad, because I love video games now. I think they're fantastic, and I loved them back then, but for some reason, this generation of consoles made me lose interest in it, or I wasn't as excited to play video games. Maybe because I was interested in something else at the time. I can't remember right now, but...
Being a fuckboy?
Yeah, being a fuckboy, that has something to do with it, but... that's why I love going back now on my Xbox One, playing all these 360 games that I missed, because people make fun of me now because I have an Xbox One, but it seems like I play more 360 games on it than I do Xbox One games. Even though I do like Xbox One and their games, the 360, I'm just loving going back and playing all those old games that I've missed, because there are a lot of good games on there. So, interesting little part about my history. But enough about talking about 360. We're going to move on to the last console that we're going to talk about, which is the Nintendo Wii.
Wii!
Wii! Did you ever have a Wii?
Nope, I never owned one, but I played 2 games on it, I think. Well, yeah, 2 games, including Wii Sports. I played Up, and I think it was this mashup of Nickelodeon. It was a Nickelodeon game with a bunch of Nickelodeon characters. It had Danny Phantom in it. It has SpongeBob and some others. I can't remember the name of it.
I know a game you're talking about. I played a game similar to that, but I can't remember. It was like Nicktoons something something.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it was probably Nicktoons Invasion, because I remember fighting some aliens. But that's the only games that I played on the Wii. Since I didn't actually own it, it was my cousin's. That's the only games I played. So
what I love about the Wii personally is that I got that for my birthday. When did this come out? It came out November 19th, 2006. Okay, so I got it in 2007. I got it for my birthday, 2007. It was my birthday gift that year. And I have another interesting story, but I want to talk about this first. What I loved about the Wii was every single person in my family had a Wii. I had one in my house, my aunt had one, my uncle had one, even my fucking grandparents had a Wii. That's what was so great about the Wii, is that it was universal. The way that they marketed this console was fantastic, because it was obviously family friendly. It was, anyone can play this game. You know, you can, even people who are old, it's a casual sort of console, casual gaming. You can exercise while doing it, you can stay fit while playing games, and it made people really interested in it. So this console, I think, is it's obviously one of the highest selling consoles of all time. I can't remember where it ranks up in the list, but it's definitely one of the highest selling consoles of all time, and it was just a brilliant thing. But another interesting story is the very first day that I got my console, the very first day I got my Wii, all of my family was over for my birthday, and we showed it off. We showed it off. We played Wii Sports, which was the packing game. We all took turns playing it. Everyone loved it, thought it was great, and that's what made my family go out and get one, because they thought it was so cool. But after everyone left my party, I continued to play in the living room. I was playing Wii Bowling at the time, and right above me was a fan with a lampshade, like a glass lampshade.
I know where this is going.
You see where I'm going?
Yup.
So I was playing bowling, and you know how you have to swing your fucking arm, like you swing it back and then you swing it up. So I went to take the shot. I flung my arm back, and then I flung my arm up way too hard and way too high, and I just smashed the fucking lampshade into a million pieces, and glass like rained down on me. And I had like a bunch of cuts all over my arms and my legs, and I was crying because I was really young. I was like, ah. So that's my memory of the Wii. Not my only memory, but that's one of the first memories I have of the Wii, is destroying property and bleeding. So
good job.
Yeah, but always be aware of your surroundings when playing the Wii.
Yeah. Wait, I never really liked the Wii much. I know it was a family game, but the family game console, but the whole motion sensing stuff, I didn't really like it because I preferred using like a controller. They had the controllers for the Wii. You didn't have to use the the fucking wand, whatever the fuck it's called. And yeah, they had the controller thing, but I didn't really like the whole moving stuff because I just didn't like it. It felt wrong to me. It felt weird.
Yeah, at the time, motion controls, people were like going crazy over the thought of playing games with motion, and that's obviously what's helped sell the console as well. Because everyone went nuts about the motion controls. People were like, "What? You can play games without, with using your arms and stuff, and you can drive virtually. Like you can pretend you're driving the steering wheel without with motion and shit." People were going crazy over this thing, and I remember at the time I thought it was super cool too. The motion sensing technology and whatnot. I thought it was really cool the way that they some of the early games implemented motion controls not too well, but even if they were bad, people were still like really excited to see what they would do with the motion controls. And eventually they did get better. The motion controls, they did improve on it. They had Wii Motion Plus. It did help with that, but unfortunately, by then, I think people were sort of sick of motion controls. Even though they were really excited when the Wii first came out, motion controls kind of died down. Xbox 360 had the Kinect because they saw how big the Wii was, so they did the Kinect. And PS3 had like PlayStation Move or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was the PlayStation Move, which was the dumbest thing ever.
I had a Kinect actually for my Xbox 360, and I did actually enjoy my time with that. I thought it was super cool at the time. I had Kinectimals.
Kinectables?
No, Kinectimals, which was like this animal game. I had Kinect Sports, and I had a bunch of different Kinect games, and then eventually, like everything else, it died down. But Wii is a very interesting, piece of hardware. It shows the time. It shows the age that it was in. The age of motion controls, which is sort of a dark time in gaming.
Yeah, but it got better now since VR. The motion controls are better now because you have the VR and it looks realistic. So the motion controls now are way better than back then.
Yeah, VR is sort of going on a same pattern as motion controls are. Everyone's really excited about VR. They're saying it's the future of gaming, just like everyone said motion controls was the future of gaming. And it's starting out rough, just like motion controls. People are sort of saying, I don't know. But they are improving on it like motion controls. But I feel like after that point, people are not going to be as interested in VR anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of like a trend, it's popular for a while and then it just disappears because people get tired of it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I've never played VR. I don't think I ever could because I think it would make me motion sick. I think that a lot of people don't play VR because it makes them motion sick, and I think I'm one of those people. I don't think I could ever do VR.
I've done VR with my phone, and I did one of those roller coaster apps. It was cool, but yeah, like you said, motion sickness. I can't do VR.
Yeah, and playing a full game in VR, that just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't think they have full games. They only have like demos.
Fuck, well, no, Fallout 4 and Skyrim are coming out in full VR.
Well, that's not out yet, but the game's now.
No, yeah, but I'm saying in the future there will be like full games released in VR, and that just seems crazy to me.
plus you could have. There's people that played Skyrim in VR because they had like some weird mod, and they could have used their VR headset and play Skyrim with the VR headset before this even released. So
Yeah, but back to the Wii. Another thing that I want to talk about is as I said before, this was a generation of gaming that I sort of skipped. So what's really great now, what I realized a few months ago, when I really wanted to get back into Wii, because I got my Wii U a few months ago, and I went back because the Wii U is actually backwards compatible. It plays almost every single Wii game. So what's great is that I went on GameStop and looked at Wii games, like old Wii games. Almost every single Wii game, except for like the big brands like Mario and Zelda and whatnot, they're all like $5, like $5 or $10. So I have a huge collection of Wii games now that I never played before that I've always wanted to play, and I think most of them are pretty fantastic.
yeah, but the Wii, it was good. Wii U sucks ass.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about this current generation of consoles because we sort of want to talk about the classic games, obviously. So we're going to not talk about the Xbox One, PS4, or Wii U, or the Nintendo Switch right now. If we do talk about those games, we'll save it for later. And unfortunately, as I did mention in the beginning of the podcast, we were going to talk about remasters, but this podcast has been running for a very long time, and I don't want to keep people here for too long. I want to save that for another time. So we will be talking about remastered games, discussing those in the next podcast. So that's going to be it for this podcast right now. I hope you enjoyed listening to us ramble about old video games and talking about our favorites and memories that we've had. So I hope you have a good night, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time you're watching this. And we hope to see you back in the next podcast.